Now, more of Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute, the only show directly addressing the problems and solutions for Illinois. Now, from AM 560, here's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Kristina Rasmussen, Executive Vice President of the Illinois Policy Institute, illinoispolicy.org. And Kristina, Governor Rahm has successfully negotiated 18 different collective bargaining agreements with 18 different unions representing 18 different groups of state employees. But there's one that's a little bit more intransigent, and that's AFSCME, the largest state employee union, 37,000 state workers. They, where the other 18 kind of said, okay, we understand, Governor, we understand Illinois' fiscal peril, we're going to take a wage freeze. And they were able to negotiate a deal. So, I mean, Governor Rahm, for all the talk about how he's anti-union, he's impractical, that stuff, he's shown he's neither of those things. But with respect to AFSCME, they want kind of a big hike in pay, and they want their contributions to pension and health care to remain the same. It tallies, depending on who you believe, somewhere between $2 and $3 billion of money we don't have. And so what is a governor to do given this situation? And it's pending in the courts now for the governor seeking for a court to declare an impasse. And then we start to slide down a slope that could go a lot of different directions, including some kind of lockout, maybe even a general strike.
Yeah, and the governor said he's not interested in a lockout. He wants these folks to come to work and do great things for the people of Illinois. But unfortunately, we've seen AFSCME just be completely unreasonable, always wanting more, always demanding more, even though, as we heard from the comptroller earlier, Illinois is broke. And so we've kind of seen this system play out with, who's going to emerge from this and get what they want. And so right now we're in a series of impasse hearings to see if they've been negotiating for so long, but really no movement's been making, so we need to move on to the next stage. It's a really interesting time. No one's quite certain what's going to happen.
What about the prospect of a Reagan-esque moment for Governor Rahm, where he says to, this version of the air traffic controllers, anybody who wants to come back to work, you're welcome back right now. This is the window. And when that window closes, I'm posting for your positions. And we're going to see if maybe there's other Illinoisans out there who'd like to make $70,000 with a guaranteed seven-figure pension and job security for life. We'll see if anybody's interested in that deal.
I think it's a pretty good deal. And I think a lot of AFSCME members in their heart of hearts know that they have a good deal, particularly in this troubled time. And so you see that the rank and file is actually much more reasonable. But unfortunately, the folks at the top controlling the union are much more extreme. And they're going to fight for every single inch. And that's why they're not conceding what they need to concede at this moment in time.
Well, for more on the legal process that gets us from where we are now to potentially those inflection points, we're now joined by Miley Smith. She is a staff attorney with the Illinois Policy Institute. Miley, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So give us an update, because I know this is with labor law, this is a process. So can you kind of give us an update in terms of where this is?
Sure. The governor asked the labor board to decide that the parties are at impasse back in January, and those proceedings have been ongoing before an administrative law judge. And those proceedings started on April 25th. They wrapped up on June 9th. And so at this point in time, there is kind of a lull. We are waiting for the state and AFSCME to file their post-hearing written arguments, and those are not due until July 13th. So we will not have a decision on the impasse from the administrative law judge until at least after that time.
So, Miley, the administrative judge hands down her ruling on July 13th, and then what are the options that the governor has as well as AFSCME, depending on her ruling?
Well, either party can appeal to the full five-panel board. However, a new development is that the state has asked the board to just bypass the administrative law judge and take the issue directly without waiting for the ALJ's decision.
And Miley, this really matters because we need to see cost savings now. And every month that goes by without seeing any reforms put into place for state worker compensation, we're paying for it. So,
Exactly.
What kind of relief could we potentially see maybe on the healthcare side if they finally expedite this so we get to a decision point?
Well, the governor's office is saying that expediting this would save the state $35 to $40 million a month in higher health costs, which is just an extraordinary amount of money that is coming out of the taxpayers' pocket.
And when you're talking about expediting the savings, expediting so they can get to some decision point.
We are still months away from resolution in this case because once we have a decision from that 5-member panel of the state labor board, the losing party can then appeal to the state court. So it starts at the state district court all the way up to the Illinois Supreme Court. And so we're talking, even if they expedite those appeals, it could be the end of this calendar year before we have a resolution in this case.
That's incredible. A 2-year contract negotiation process. I mean, think about all the energy that this takes up, not only for the government's lawyers, the union's lawyers, but the uncertainty for state workers not knowing what kind of a deal they're going to be in, and for state taxpayers not knowing what they're going to have to pay for. I think it's time to bring this whole process to a resolution so we can move on to other important things.
Is there an opportunity, Miley, for the governor to intercede at some point before all of those appeals have been exhausted and take drastic action if he wanted to, for example, a lockout?
Well, under the tolling agreements that both of the parties signed, they have agreed that AFSCME will not strike and the governor will not lock out state workers as long as they are in this impasse proceeding. So at this point, there will not be a lockout or a strike as long as this proceeding is pending. Now, once the labor board or once this comes to resolution, if this falls in favor of the governor, he can, if there is an impasse declared, he can implement his last best offer. At that point, AFSCME can strike.
Interesting. All right, Miley Smith, staff attorney with the Illinois Policy Institute. Miley, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was great. Thanks.